Welcome back to the devlog series for Dungeons Risk. This is episode 4 and it's been a little bit of time since the last episode. In my defense, I made a whole ass game in between the third video and this one, but it was for some stupid school project and, I was burnt out and I didn't even like the game, so I couldn't even make like a series about it. So, that kind of stunk. But now that I'm back, I've got some stuff to add. Just as a quick recap of this whole thing, Dungeons Risk is the game I've been working on for the past couple of months. It started off as just a small little project, and then I abandoned it, came back, and now I'm actually adding to it from the ground up, starting from scratch, with the new Godot 4 engine. In the last episode, I redid the archer enemy, so it would be better to fight. I made a bunch of balancing changes, including a new leveling system, so you can get better as time goes on. I also edited the HUD to make it better than whatever I had before, and I added the new mage playable character. To start things off, I had to actually fix the archer because I was an idiot and I accidentally used the archer script with the mage character. And I deleted a bunch of the archer stuff, and that just caused so many problems because I inadvertently made the archer join the Shadow Wizard Bunny Gang. I had to revoke his membership, and I, fixed him up, added the arrows back, made it so it doesn't spawn hellfire spears or whatever they are from the heavens. And after that was done, I kind of slightly redid the level switching system. This time I used a switch statement. Previously I just had nested if statements, and once it starts getting really big numbers, it's really bad for performance. Thank you Yandere Dev for being a great example for that. But now it's a switch statement, or a match statement, I guess, because it's named differently in Godot for some reason. And this is all for the second stage and all the stages after that. I don't really know what to call them yet, so I just call them stages. Once that changing system was done, I started working on the second stage levels, and while the level creation is going on in the background, I'm actually just gonna explain what my plan is here. There's gonna be around 4 or 5 stages with about 8 levels in each of them. Once you complete the 8 levels in each stage, you'd need to defeat a boss or a wave of enemies or something to continue further. Once you beat the final stage, you actually have the choice of looping back to the very beginning and going through it all again, this time being strong, or go to the very final level and fighting the final boss. If you couldn't tell, a lot of this game and level switching stuff is very inspired by the Risk of Rain series. I'm also planning on having certain items or rewards or even characters unlocked from beating certain bosses or special stages, or even finding Easter eggs. About halfway through that, I got bored of making levels, so I went to making the system that would make it so after a certain amount of levels you beat, you start to switch the stages. This was after a week or two without coding, so I kind of just had absolutely no idea what to do and went with the worst way I could think of at the time. Eventually, I made something, and it didn't really work the first time, or the first 15 times, but eventually I got to work. After I got the level system finished, I went back to making levels because you kind of need those to play the damn game. Skipped the time on the screen to pass the level stuff. And with those last couple of rooms done, stage 2 is complete. I used the assets I had to make the abandoned section of the dungeon with holes in the walls and green light coming from the grates. I guess that's kind of mysterious or something. But this is stage 2. I'm going to call it the abandoned section just because it kind of looks abandoned and I have no ideas for good names. If you have a better name, please suggest it in the comments because I'm horrendous at naming things if you couldn't tell. To take a break between making the rooms, I made special variants of the enemies I named the Elite variants, which are just orc enemies kinda. They have more health and shoot and move faster, which I think makes them a pretty good addition and somewhat of a challenge to fight against. I have it set up so that 1 in 6 enemies will be an Elite variant, but that is subject to change in case in the future it gets like annoying or that messes with the balancing of certain stuff. While fighting the Elite variants, I would find myself either super low health after fighting them or just dead, while thinking I got out of the fight pretty fine. But there was just no way to tell that I was actually hit from something without looking at my health bar or the player, and I usually wasn't doing that because there were enemies around. I had to make sure there were no enemies attacking me. So I decided to add a little indicator in the form of screen shake. So whenever you got hit, the screen would shake and it'd be like, oh, I just got hit, wow. So I added that. Along with that, I also added a level up indicator since I realized I was also leveling up without knowing. So I had a little bit of text that flies down on the screen saying you leveled up. Kind of hard to miss now. I also somehow forgot to add the mage character's special attack in the last video. So I thought something up and I added that real quick. It's like a sort of high risk, high reward kind of thing, where you activate the special attack and it calls in a huge explosion on the mage after like 4 or 5 seconds. And that would kill like most of the enemies around you, but you would also have to be near the enemies, and a lot of them are melee based, so that could cause problems. Especially for the mage, since their attacks aren't instant, they're not right away. While I was at it, I also created the mage enemy type. I start off with a combo of the warrior enemy's body, and then I add the archer enemy's script onto it, but this time making sure it's actually a duplicate, not the actual archer enemy script, so I don't repeat the goof of last time. It was kind of easy to add though. It would just work how the mage player works. It would call down a spear to wherever the player is standing, which could cause issues if you walk into the explosion radius or if you just stay still for too long without paying attention. On top of that, I also had the elite variant of the mage enemy since I was already there, and it's just a little stat tweak and reskin. After that, I was ready to just scratch one more thing off the list, and I added a scoring system. So you can track some sort of progress and maybe even have a goal for each playthrough to get a higher score or something. I also fixed up the pause menu so it would just look nicer when you paused, and I added a death screen so you don't just immediately shoot back to the main menu if you die. I thought that was a nice little bit of polish. I also tried to add at the last second a low health screen effect with an old shader I had, but I couldn't get that to work in time for this video. I'm going to try and get it work for the next video because I think it's about time for this video to be all wrapped up. Hopefully it won't be another few months for the next video. That was kind of lousy on my end. I would like to apologize for that actually. That's why this video is kind of short. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just level creation, but that's mostly the footage I had. So I kind of just rushed to get a bunch of other stuff done, so this upload's a little bit more interesting than just level making. But you know, if you like the level making, make sure to say it in the comments so I add more of it instead of cut it out, because personally, I don't think you guys like it, but if you like it, say something so I actually have it in the damn video. But other than that, I hate to ask, but I'm gonna have to beg you to subscribe and hit the stupid bell thing and whatever else you're able to do so the YouTube overlords think I'm doing something right here. Other than that, I'm just gonna go into the dark here, enjoy the little bit of gameplay footage in the background, I guess.